Well, welcome back. I can't believe a month has gone by, and I'm shocked you are back for more to watch a second episode. Here's a reminder about why I've chosen to do these videos. Like some of the insight from the books I read and shared last time, this month has been a bit of a roller coaster. Amazing highs to waking up on a Monday morning and it almost being like doomsday. But I do keep reminding myself of my plan, and more on that next time. And I'm way ahead of where I thought I'd be at this stage. It's only actually been about 8 weeks, so I'm really pleased with how far I've come so far. I'm also really happy. I'm doing more exercise. Tension in my shoulder is completely gone. I'm more present, and I'm also meeting some amazing, interesting people, finding out all about their stories, and feeling more connected than I've been in years. So it's so easy to get engrossed in the work you do and fail to look outwards, what's going on sort of out there, and most of what I need to do now is very much about that, because nothing's gonna fall in my lap. I'm reading a book at the moment about a guy in Ireland who completely disconnected from technology for over a year, and whilst I don't really believe in everything he talks about and agree with some of his way of life, it has really got me thinking about what I want to do and how I want to spend my time, and I suppose reinforces the decision that I've certainly made, which is what this episode is all about. But for years I have had a nagging feeling, and in my little notebook, which I sort of jot down various thoughts and what have you, on the second page I have career goals, and when I wrote it back in, it must have been about 2017, they were my 10-year goals, and I broke them down into sort of more manageable objectives. But at a top line, they were: number one, be an HR director in a large organisation; number two, deliver a keynote speech; and number three, own my own HR consultancy business. No real order to that, although each could enable the other, and those three things were on my plan. The one that has continuously nagged at me, though, was to own my own business and do my own thing. And I won't bore you with some of the activity I did to support this goal, but the more I worked towards it, the more I did feel it was for me. In 2006 I came across Lego Serious Play, and I've always loved Lego, and even now relive my pirate Lego days with my son Daniel, and something about using Lego in an adult world to solve problems and realise opportunities appeal to me. I trained in it and used it in my work, and as years went by, what I enjoyed most surrounding I suppose the realm of leadership in HR was bringing people together, encouraging that honest discussion and debate, and then translating that into action. I connected with some awesome experienced Lego facilitators and followed their work, and then the more I thought about it, the more I realised that actually I could do that, and that's what I want to do, and that's where my business focus could be. But I suppose this is the part that I know impacts so many people. But the SME Loans did a study and found that 64% of UK people would love to start their own business. But when you actually translate that to the number of startups and people who actually do that, it's obviously a lot less. So I suppose what stopped me taking the leap in 2021, an obvious reason would be COVID. Not the best time to start up a business, although I have spoken to a number of people who did that since I've become self-employed, and they're doing absolutely great, and it definitely worked for them. But certainly back in 2021, when all these sort of thoughts about becoming self-employed were becoming a bit more magnified, there were, I suppose, three main factors that really did stop me. Number one being financial, two being the risk, and three doubting myself really. So first, with finances. With no discernible income, how can you live in the society of today? And when I think about all the things, the council tax, the water, the gas, the electricity, the TV license, insurance for this, insurance for that, broadband, mobile phone, membership fees, and then that's even before you start building in debt like a mortgage. Now, I'm fortunate that a mortgage is the only debt that I have, but still moving from a regular healthy salary to potentially nothing was a really scary prospect for me. One of my drivers isn't to be rich, but it's certainly to be financially secure, and it makes me tick. It makes me get up each day to do work, and so removing that security was quite significant for me. So my approach was to effectively, and surprisingly simple, list every single expenditure on a monthly basis that I have to make, even down to money spent on gifts for teachers, and even predicting the amount of money that I would spend on prescriptions and haircuts. And I begrudge even spending a tenner on my haircut, which probably tells. And then what I did, I highlighted all the essential elements of that sort of budget sheet, and I wasn't particularly brutal about it. But what was really amazing, once I totaled sort of everything up, I realised that I did not need to earn that much money to fund the lifestyle that I wanted to lead. And then the second step, I started to cut out some of those non-essentials and build up a bit of a pot of money, a fund. And I gave myself a target, and I said, this is how much money I'd need to earn in order to go it alone, and in order to at least survive for a year. And I reflected on what would happen if I ran out of money. So I looked at all those sort of worst case scenarios, and I worked out how many hours I'd need to work on minimum wage to pay the bills. I also went down the route of, if the worst happened, I could sell the house and use the equity in the house to buy something smaller and be mortgage free. And the reality is, all these things weren't bad in the sort of grand scheme of things. Taking away all that, I realised that finances would always be an excuse for me not to do this, and I realised that this exercise gave me the confidence to move forward and realise that it's not all bad. As well as the fact that on one of the walks to schools, Daniel did remind me that I could use his money if I was running a bit short, so that was always really helpful to know. And of course, everyone has different priorities and expectations, but for me, I became much clearer on mine, and just doing this simple exercise really helped clarify things. And I hadn't even given it much thought before then, so it was definitely a worthwhile thing to do. And to be honest, that's why the risk element somewhat disappeared. So the finances was a key thing around, whoa, this is quite risky. But the other risk for me was career. If I leave, what does that look like again? Could I get another job? Again, I reached out to my network, and most people said to me, look, the learning you get from being self-employed is phenomenal. And even if it doesn't work out, the skills, the knowledge that you learn along the way would be invaluable back in the workplace. I also reached out to the family, and although risk averse too by nature, there was encouragement, excitement, there was that unwavering support, lots of healthy challenge, but belief in me. Risks, yes, but I realised there would be no failure in this, and it took me a bit of time to get to this point, but I realised that when people that care are rallying behind me, that this is going to be like an epic adventure, not a transactional activity where I could win or lose. And I wonder back to the workplace and think, how many people could be liberated, and how many people could feel unstoppable, resilient, and produce amazing outcomes if their line managers behaved in that way too. That encouragement, belief, support, challenge, creating a space that's safe for honesty and great dialogue. So that was quite helpful for me to sort of navigate some of my thinking, in that way. And looking back now, I do realise how silly I was. The things I did previously, the jobs I had, the jobs I wanted, the job titles. It really doesn't mean much, and this isn't about me becoming all deep and meaningful, but I did realise that I've been chasing the wrong things to deliver the goal that I wanted. I'd been looking at things from the wrong perspective. And once again, Daniel's wisdom comes to the rescue, and he sort of said to me, "Dad, I don't care what you do for work as long as you're just happy." And finally, the other thing that stopped me was me, doubting myself. Can I do this? Am I good enough? Is this sustainable? We all have times where we get frustrated or stop believing in what we are doing, and we all go through times in our careers, often impacted by others, where we lose confidence or doubt our abilities. But going it alone, it's you, it's me, and you have to believe in yourself and be clear on what you stand for. And I had to make a choice: believe in myself and do it, or not. And didn't Yoda famously say, no, try not, do or do not, there is no try. And again, I saw counsel, and it was nice to get lots of compliments. It was nice to get lots of people say how much they believe in me, and they think I can do this, and that was backed up by my inaugural announcement on LinkedIn when I officially sort of said I'm going it alone, and there was amazing the amount of people that commented, and I really appreciated that, and it did sort of make me warm inside. But the harsh reality for me was the only true feedback would come when I actually do it, and I couldn't afford to let time pass and me regret that decision. I know what makes me tick, and I know what drives me, so I started building my proposition, and I knew this would rationalise my thinking and build my confidence as the idea that I wanted to create became more concrete, a much stronger foundation for me to sort of truly step on as a self-employed employed person. So I had my concept, I knew I wanted it, I had become clearer on the risk, and it scared me a bit less. So what? So I built my proposition, and I determined what my reason for existence was. What did I believe in? What did I want my work to help others achieve? And how would I do it? How much would I charge? And I tested it with others, got their views. I then went about trying to professionalise the look, and a mate of mine told me about people per hour, and I mean, people per hour, I've never heard of it before, but boy, I wish I had it early on in my life, or known about it early on in my life. An awesome guy called Sate energized my design, and I was still working and getting my regular income, but spending my free time immersed in what my business could become, this new exciting project. And this excitement kept me going until, as you know, we talked about in the last episode, I made the decision to resign and go it alone. So there we have it. If you want to know more about the things I did, the tools I used, and the approach I took to sort of help me navigate some of the doubts surrounding going self-employed, do get in touch. Would love to hear from you. And I've quickly come to realise that it is me that puts blockers up more than anyone else, and me that generates the fear. I saw this quote recently on socials. It popped up on my feed at the right time. So here that is. And thanks again for joining me. Next month, the next video is called Yikes, Making It Real, where I'll share more about how I actually got the business sort of off the ground, the website, the things they don't tell you on hmrc.gov.co.uk, whatever it is, and more. And finally, as my 8-year-old Daniel always tells me and reminds me to do, if you like what you see, you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. Thanks so much.